This is the day that the Lord has made. Alright, what's today? Today is Genesis 45, Wednesday 4-29-20. And yesterday we read about Joseph, Joseph's brothers. He sent them, they came back to get food again. They came back with the silver and all that was left in their sacks, and then Joseph said, go back to your family with this food. And so when they started going, he planted a cup and some silver in their sacks, and he told his guard, go get them and find the stuff that was in their sacks and bring them back to me. He tricked them, and he's trying to trick him so he could keep his little brother, his blood brother, there as a slave. But I don't think he wants to keep him as a slave. I just think he wants to keep him to have him there with him. But so he tricked him. The guard went and got him. He brought him back. He said, "Why have you stole from me?" And basically, they told him, "I can't go back without my brother, or my father will die." So that's where we're at. I'll try to recap the whole Joseph story after we're done too. But today's Genesis 45. Joseph makes himself known. Then Joseph could no longer control himself before all his attendants, and he cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence." So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers, and he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, and Pharaoh's household heard about it. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me." When they had done so, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold to Egypt. And now, do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. For 2 years now there has been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years there will be no plowing and reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you the remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So then, it was not you who sent me here, but God." Woo! That's what I love. That's what I love right there. I put that under my likes. I highlighted, "Do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves." And I skipped a little, and then I put, "Because it was to save lives that God sent me." And then I also like, "So then, it was not you who sent me here, but God." I love that, man, because it shows like nobody could do nothing to you unless God wanted it to happen. So I don't know. That part, he's showing that he's not blaming his brothers for doing that. He knows that it was God's will and it was planned that way. So instead of putting the blame on his brothers for selling him, he's saying it was God who did it. "It was not you who sent me here, but God." Deep, man, deep. Alright. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household and ruler of all Egypt. Now hurry back to my father and say to him, 'This is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord over all of Egypt. God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, don't delay. You shall live in the region of Goshen and be near me. You, your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds, and all you have. I will provide for you there, because 5 years of famine are still to come. Otherwise you and your household and all who belong to you will become destitute. You can see for yourselves, and so can my brother Benjamin, that it is really I who am speaking to you. Tell my father about all the honor according me in Egypt and about everything you have seen. and bring my father down here quickly." Then he drew his arms around his brother Benjamin and wept. And Benjamin embraced him, weeping. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. Afterward his brothers talked with him. When the news reached Pharaoh's palace that Joseph's brothers had come, Pharaoh and all his officials were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, do this, load your animals and return to the land of Canaan, and bring your father and your families back to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt you can enjoy the fat of the land." You are also directed to tell them, "Do this, take some carts from Egypt for your children and your wives, and get your father and come. Never mind about your belongings, because the best of all Egypt will be yours." So the sons of Israel did this. Joseph gave them carts, as Pharaoh had commanded, and he also gave them provisions for their journey. To each of them he gave new clothing, but to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels of silver and 5 sets of clothes. And this is what he sent to his father: 10 donkeys loaded with the best things of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and other provisions for his journey. Then he sent his brothers away, and as they were leaving, he said to them, "Don't quarrel on the way." So they went up out of Egypt and came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. They told him, "Joseph is still alive. In fact, he is ruler of all Egypt." Jacob was stunned. He did not believe them. But when they told him everything Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the carts Joseph had sent to carry him back, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. And Israel said, "I'm convinced my son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." That's it for today. I highlighted under my likes, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. Because I don't know, man. I used to be a bad alcoholic and stuff, and my parents were always sad, and like it was like I was dead to them basically. And now that I'm clean, their spirits are revived. So it's like if you're in a bad place, and like your family, it's like you're almost dead to them, or not dead to them, but you're bringing them in misery and stuff. God could heal you, man, and it'll revive your whole family. So God bless everyone. Have a good day. Amen.